I'm Jared Bowen. This is The Culture Show, streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. Nearly a decade after it premiered on the stage, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child continues to cast its spell on audiences. The play picks up 19 years after the final book in J.K. Rowling's beloved series. Harry is now a husband, father, and an overworked employee at the Ministry of Magic. But it's his son Albus who finds himself struggling under the weight of a family legacy and a world still haunted by the past. Merging inventive stagecraft with storytelling, the production offers a vivid portrait of fathers and sons and the magic that binds them. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is on stage at the Emerson Colonial Theatre through December 20th. Joining us to talk about it, all on the stage, our father and son duo, Nick Dillenburg, who stars as Harry Potter, and Adam Grant Morrison, who stars as Albus Potter. Welcome to The Culture Show, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for spending all of this father-son time off stage as well. So, Nick, let me start with you. And who is the Harry Potter that we meet in this? A far cry from the one we last left off in the books and films.
It really is. I think Harry, the trauma-laden childhood, that we know of Harry, there's been 20 years of peace and prosperity, and now he runs sort of the magical FBI of this world, and things have been pretty relaxed. Things at home with Ginny have been good. We have 3 kids. Everything's sort of been going okay until, our second child goes off to Hogwarts, and that's where our play begins and where it starts to go awry. Yeah.
Well, Adam, I guess I'll have you pick it up there. And who's Harry's son?
Yeah, Albus, when we first meet him in the show, he's just leaving for Hogwarts and getting sorted. And he actually, very right off the bat, sorted into Slytherin. And so very, very much right from the beginning, he is kind of the black sheep of the family, and so we get to see him kind of grappling with his identity throughout all this and how he feels in relation to his father and his father's legacy and the way that people view him, especially through, knowing him as his father's son, and kind of just, figuring out how to navigate the world like that and how he feels about his father in that kind of way. So it's very interesting, their relationship and the character and stuff. Yeah.
And how did you two come together? Well, I'll just open up the conversation. I'll stop asking you each individual question, so just weigh in. But how did you two come together and find this relationship?
I have to say, I feel like the luckiest person in the world, because the guy sitting right next to me is just so giving, so open. We shared difficult parts about our past with our fathers, and we just hit it off right away. I mean, I think that fathers and son narratives in today's world are, they're complicated. We're trying to figure out how to be better men, how to be softer, how to be more vulnerable, how to teach our children, in different ways, and trying to create different narratives. And I think this play does such a good job of saying, Harry's so insistent, it's got to be like this, and then something goes wrong, and Harry makes a unilateral decision without consulting his wife, and then things get even worse. And it isn't really until the end of the play that Harry is able to see his son for who he is, not who he wants him to be, and is just a really beautiful, really, long 3-hour journey to get there. Yeah, no,
I absolutely agree. Likewise, I feel so incredibly lucky, because genuinely, there has not been a single second of this, the rehearsal process or the performance that I have felt like anything other than just so completely safe and held and comfortable, and just it's been a really special and lovely thing to get to do this with Nick, and to get to figure out this relationship, as well as getting to know each other, and it's been just the loveliest thing in the world. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I'm so struck by, in addition to what you just talked about, what we all can relate to in our own father and son's relationships, then there's Harry Potter, who bears an even bigger weight, an even bigger legacy. And you see that in celebrity, you see that in political figures, and that changes the dynamic, which makes it even more complicated for the son. It makes it complicated for the father, who has to continue on in life knowing how he's looked at. How have you looked at that?
Yeah, completely right. I mean, my son being sorted into Slytherin is in some ways kind of a, not necessarily a stain on me, but it does reflect upon me. The first child that we see also in Platform 9 3/4 at the beginning of the play is named after my father, James. Our daughter is named after my mother, Lily, and here's this this son who's named after Albus Dumbledore and Severus Snape. So not only does he have the expectations of being the most famous wizard's son, but now he has these other names to live up to. And I think that's part of why it's so hard for him. He's not James. He's not this like effervescent, bubbly, outgoing Quidditch star or anything. You know, he has his own interests. And I think it's that difficulty in adjusting to Hogwarts, to feeling like an outsider. And eventually the connection with Draco's son that my son develops throughout the course of the play. But it's that sense of being an outsider, of being a black sheep, of not knowing where you fit. And look, being 11 years old, 12, 13, 14, which is the ages he is in this play, that's an impossible time to be alive, you know? Draco says it at one point in the play. He says, you know, we all forget growing up how hard it was. And I think that's something I'm constantly remembering as we do this.
And so, Adam, you have to do that remembering. You have to call on that.
Very much, yeah, very much. It's the whole show is so. We meet Albus in such a hard time in his life. It's so much fun for me to get to do, because we meet him. He's 11, 12 years old. He's just getting sorted, and by the end of the show, he's 15 years old. So I get to play that every night. I get to play the spectrum of a very like a young person just coming into their own, and a person who's kind of had to have these realizations, and who not only is grown up so much in this 3-hour period with the audience, but just within the story has grown up so much in such a short amount of time. Throughout this story, learning to understand his father and the way that he interacts with the world, and the way that he needs to learn to give himself grace and to give the people around him grace, and to understand that things are bigger than you, and that you not only can't do everything alone, you shouldn't. It's no way to live, understanding that by opening himself up to the people in his life, the people that he cares for and the people that more importantly care for him, that's how he saves himself. That's how you save everybody, That's
a pretty big narrative arc for 3 hours every night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of wild, right? Because we're talking about this like it's some gritty drama. It's all kind of the basic building blocks that all actors want to go through all the time. And yet at the same time, there's so much magic, so much spectacle, big group numbers, all of the people that you remember. And so it is a mix of both of those things. Mm-hmm. But to your point as well, I just wanted to add that there's how hard it is to be Harry Potter's son. There's a scene where we come in and I'm bringing him his suitcase for year 2 and everything. And not only am I just dishing out, wisdom like he has to take it down from the mountaintop, but then I'm stopping to sign autographs, and to be his son doing all of that is not easy.
Good lessons for real life, too, I would imagine, for your careers. Well, tell me what it's like. I did see this show in New York. I'm looking forward to seeing your show this weekend. It is so dazzling and so spectacular. It's great to be an adult still wondering, how did they do that with some of these effects? I still don't know. In the 8 years since I saw it, I still haven't figured it out. What is it like to be in this world of magic?
It never gets old. Never gets old. I mean, every single night hearing the audience, react to these things, even just being a part of it, seeing it happen right in front of your face, even knowing what's going to happen, if things go well. Yeah. Sometimes they don't, and that's sometimes even more fun, live theater. But it's something that it really never ever gets old. It's lovely. Kids afterwards asking like, how did you do that? And it's magic.
I'm going to go back to something you just said. Even when it's happening on stage, do you well, you're in character, but you can find these moments where you're in this world, and how is this happening?
Absolutely. It's one of those things, like, especially when you're just really like living in something and having fun, and just kind of like, especially we've done this show now. We've been here for 2-3 months. We've done the show 50 times or something, and a lot of the year 1 people have done it 400 times, so it gets to a point where there's a certain level of muscle memory, but it's so much fun because then you kind of get to play. You don't have to worry about the technical as much. And so especially in those moments, like when you get to like pull off these magic tricks and see how these people are reacting, or even just like sit back for a second and just think about what you're doing. It's so lovely. It's really nothing like it.
And then to walk out to the stage door to see tons of kids in Gryffindor robes with wands, and Adam walks by and they're just gobsmacked. They're so in awe of it all. There's no end of my energy pool to be able to make that kind of thing happen for kids like that, especially as we're going into the holiday season. There's so many great like Christmas and Thanksgiving scenes throughout all of the films. It's so touching, and I never get tired of it.
We're talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is on stage at the Emerson Colonial Theater through December 20th. I'm speaking with actors Nick Dillenburg, who stars as Harry Potter, and Adam Grant Morrison, starring as Albus Potter. You talked about your energy reserve. I think I read somewhere, maybe it was you, Adam, who described this as boot camp to come into this because of the physicality and how rigorous it is.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, our rehearsal process in New York was every single day we had a long warm up, and it because this show is a lot of running, especially certain tracks. You get to sit down for maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, every 20, 25 minutes, because you're on stage or off stage. When you're off stage, you're quick changing. When you're on stage, you're running around. It is so intense, and so it was a lot of work to kind of like get ready for that. It was kind of daunting.
Nick, you're old hat at this point.
I mean, now I'm into my 40s, so doing these rigorous roles takes a little bit more, but it's great. It's art and gym together. I'll tell you that much.
First of all, I want to ask about how you developed your characters, because there's obviously a wealth of material. So you have access to the books. You can mine that as much as you like. The cultural conversation we've all had with these characters between the books, and then how they physically look and manifest in the films. How do you then find it for yourselves on the stage?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, first of all, I want to give credit to all of the technical artists working in costumes, in hair and makeup and special effects. They do a lot of the work for us, and so by the time that I get there, I want to pay homage to Daniel Radcliffe, who I think is a phenomenal actor, who I have so much respect for.
I just saw him in Merrily We Roll Along. Wow, the Tony-winning performance.
I know, and for anybody who's only seen him play Harry Potter, go search out everything else, because he's a phenomenal stage actor, and he really has pushed himself in so many different ways. There's a lot of respect there. So, but yeah, Daniel created it, and now I'm in a long lineage of Harry's going back 10 years and just taking over for a phenomenal actor named John Skelly. And so I really just am trying to, start with the basic building blocks of what's on the page and to deliver a three-dimensional, heartfelt performance. I think that Harry has, incredible heart and some really great qualities, and he also has some ego, and he's impatient, and he doesn't quite know what to do when he doesn't have a problem to solve. So I think if you can, and also, by the way, the play by Jack Thorne with these two scenes with that J.K. Rowling added, give you such a great template to start off with. So most of the work I feel like has been done for me. And as long as I'm listening to him and Adam in these scenes as well, I think we're on the right track. But you can't try and get too intimidated by it. I think if I stopped to think about what it's like to take on the most famous wizard in history, I'd probably never step on stage.
Speaking of taking on, at what point does the lightning bolt come on?
Yes, we have a team who, through the glasses and the watch and the three-piece suit, and the lightning bolt comes on, and we make the hair, just the right amount of unruly, messy kind of thing. And they make reference, they say, to Albus, they say, oh, he's got hair just like Harry's, and so all those things are very important as well. We've got to get the look right.
Mm-hmm. How'd you get the accents? Adam, I'll start with you on this one. We just heard a little bit of Nick's.
We have an incredible dialect coach, Lisa Ann Porter, who works with us. She has done some incredible work, very, very necessary work. Thank you, Lisa. Shout out to her. She's amazing. It was right from day one. We were doing table reads and stuff, and just kind of like trying to work on them, tweak them, kind of get them right. It's taken a lot of work, continual work. She comes and sees the shows, and she gives us notes. She's very sweet, though, very kind. She's very kind.
Is it something you found you had a facility for before, or you really had to work at it?
Me personally, I love voices and accents. I still have not worked a professional contract where I have not done an accent or a voice or something. So this is right up my alley. I love this kind of stuff. So I'm in heaven. Yeah.
Adam is brilliant. It comes very naturally for Adam. I think I had to work a little bit more at it. But even beyond that, McGonagall's, of course, she's Scottish. We've got high class and low class. We've got a little bit, a little bit of everything going on. So Lisa's got her hands full. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In terms of your careers, what has it been to be part of this? Is it unlike anything because of everything that surrounds it? Because what happens, what you'll meet when you exit the stage door each night?
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I mean, the last thing I did before this was played Neil Armstrong, and working with his family to try and make that sound appropriately Ohio and everything. I feel the same sense of responsibility with this, fictional or otherwise. You know, I think you just have to kind of, you know, just take it bit by bit. But it's one of those things where, because I auditioned for the Broadway company, and after 7 auditions in 7 weeks, it was down to me and one other guy, and I didn't get it. And then there was 11 months of, you know, silence. I thought it probably had gone away, but I remember telling my partner at the time, I was like, I think there's going to be a moment. And then sure enough, 11 months later, there was an offer to join the tour, and just the energy and the excitement, and there's just a thing when you look at the script for that first time after receiving the offer to play the role. There's something about this world that speaks to so many people, that goes back to me stealing my brother's book, because I was a little bit older and outside the age range, but he had it, and I'd sneak it at night and read some chapters just under a flashlight, and that comes back. And I think that comes back for the parents who are seeing it, and for the kids who maybe, you know, are a little bit past it, but now they've been brought into the books or the movies or whatever it is. There's just something that makes this more than the sum of its parts. It's really, really special to be a part of.
Well, Adam, I want to ask you, before we close, about the relationship that Albus has with Scorpius, his really good friend and son of Draco Malfoy.
Famously, yeah.
That has evolved this story, and I think a lot of people are heartened to see this very dear relationship. How do you look at it?
It is a very, very dear relationship. I think Albus's relationship to Scorpius is, in my opinion, one of the most important relationships that he has, point blank period, in his life. You know, especially he's at Hogwarts. He from the very beginning of the show, he is really an odd man out. He has no one other than Scorpius, you know, and they are there for each other, and they are each other's kind of lifeline. You know, there's a theme in the show that is, in the two-parter, said quite often, but in our show, I think said maybe 3 times, it referenced a light in the darkness. Scorpius he says it, Scorpius is his light in the darkness, you know? And having that kind of relationship with someone is really, truly what helps Albus. I think through caring about Scorpius and understanding the ways that maybe he should be a better friend and you know, be better in this relationship with Scorpius, I think it really changes how he sees the world and how he interacts with the world. I think that is one of the most important steps for Albus growing up. You know, that's because of the way that he really cares about Scorpius. You know, that really helps him to care about the world outside of just himself. You know, I think it's incredibly important. Yeah.
The layers and layers and layers we get from this piece. Thank you both for being here. I know you have a show tonight, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? We appreciate it, because I know how much it takes to do these shows. Congratulations and good luck tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is on stage at the Emerson Colonial Theater through December 20th. To learn more, go to emersoncolonialtheater.com. Actor Nick Dillenburg stars as Harry Potter, and Adam Grant Morrison stars as Albus Potter.